Here I am. Hello. Oh, there's my voice.
Reminds me I gotta add TikTok to our like little thing there on the thing above our names.
Yep.
Or above our faces, below our glad you game. I got all those colors kind of growing on me though.
What, the pink?
The pink and blue,
It's changing.
the cyberpunk thing. I guess kind of. You don't like it anymore.
I think we got our OGs.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can hear myself. This is my monitor. Right?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
I can.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Welcome, Glad You Game Pod. I really couldn't tell if I could hear myself, but if I go like this, I can definitely hear myself. It just maybe I hit this down a little bit.
He likes to hear himself speak.
Yeah.
Especially when he's
whoa.
podcasting.
That is. Well, it's just to make sure the audio sounds crisp. All right. We got another crisp episode for you, episode 51. Also, big shout out. Biggest month ever was last month. Whee! Yeah, we got about 150 more DLs last month than we did any other month, which is
nice.
Pretty cool. We've all seen a lot of growth on our channels. We're pretty much over the 100 mark on everything. Insta, Twitter, not TikTok, but that's fresh. We're going to get there. I wish we would have made one last year when it's like, if you just made an account, you got like
a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Because it was just so new and everybody was like, oh, well, we just follow everybody on TikTok.
Yeah.
It seemed like if you were on TikTok, people would like and follow just everything. And now it's kind of more like the other ones when they're like, well, I don't need to follow this person, but
yeah.
So we're building it up, but it's all right. We're trying to grow those socials. Remember, like, subscribe, follow TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, whatever one I didn't mention, we're fucking there. Just because the more follows we get, the more downloads, all that kind of shit. Tell your friends about us. Tell them to tell their friends about us. We're trying to grow it. More we can, more cool stuff we can do. We got a couple irons in the fire, as it were. Nailed so that idiom. Boom. So to speak, that we're talking to. We talked to one big company, but we need more downloads, basically. But we're close. So, and they like the content so far. But we just need a little more, get our numbers up, and then we can do some even cooler stuff. So that's what we want to do. So like, subscribe, download, follow, whatever the fuck. If it's a social media thing, look for Glad You Game Pod.
So
yes,
the people want to know.
What did we do this week?
How's Chell going?
So yeah, let's talk about Chell. So like I said, I didn't expect. I was done after last week. I actually did make it to round 4 somehow. I didn't know till last night. I didn't even check because I was like, I didn't make it. It doesn't matter. And it's like round ends in like a day. You have to play 3 games to get ranked. And I was like, fuck. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just play 3 games in a row just to get ranked, just so I can get something out of it. Got my ass kicked the first 2 games because everybody just 95 and up. And I was like, God damn it. And I made a lot of mistakes. The third game, I got up 2-0, then dropped it 3-2. Then I was like, I got to get this together. And then I got it 3-3 at the second intermission. So it's all tied up for third period.
Nice.
I checked the guy's roster. Remember, my goalie is an 86. My best player is a 90. I have 190. The other line is like 89, 88, 87. And all the other lines are just like 83 to 85.
Yeah.
So more like low, mid 80s. This guy's worst line is all 89s, but his best line is also pretty much all 89s. So he basically has like my top line is like all 4 lines.
Word.
So he's better, but like not like these other guys were like way better. They weren't like a copy of my first line. They were kind of like their fourth line is better than my fourth line.
Gotcha.
First line. This one, it's kind of even. If my first line's out there, his goalie's a 95. So I'm like, fuck. But I'm like, all right, let's just buckle down. I can do this because it felt like I was playing faster and I could tell his strategy was pretty shit. I was like, let's try to lock down. I changed all of my defensive strategies to now cut off the cross pass, which I do myself, and a lot of people do. It's kind of cheap, but I kind of have to do it. But I changed everything, every defensive strategy, and went in, and then within 5 minutes, I'm up 8-3.
Okay.
So I was like, fuck yeah. He gets one more goal. It ends 8-4. And I was like, hell yeah. So I think I'm in the 1300 now because I only won the one, and I was like, I'm just not gonna play again. I'm ranked. I'll get like whatever for being ranked that high, and then it's like that's fine with me. Like it's too stressful. I know I can't play with the other ones, but it was nice like kicking the shit out of somebody that had the better team and a 95 goalie, but it's like I know I'm better than you. And it's like the other ones is like I think the one guy I played had a better team than me, but strategically like he just had a solid all around game. The other guy just had a better team than me and just won because of that. And that's what pisses me off. When you beat me and it's like I can tell like you understand hockey and you're like playing, you're not just like utilizing, oh, it's a 95 every time I take a shot, it's gonna be a goal kind of thing. Then it's like at least I respect that because you're actually playing like a real game. The other guy, like, you know, just taking advantage of like my goalie's an 86 or whatever, which is, you know, it is what it is. But if I would have had a similar team, I know I would have beat the shit out of that guy. So it was nice that like this guy's team was close enough to mine.
Mhm.
And I could tell from strategy, I was like, I can beat this guy, even though he's a 95 goal. And I had like 45 shots and I only got 8, and he had 17 and he got 4. Like, so when he was shooting, they're going in because like he did have just better shooters.
Yeah.
Mine, I was like, this goalie was blocking fucking everything. Like any other, if I was going against myself, like the same like goalie level on myself, I would have had like 15 goals. Like, because he was making saves that I was like, come on. Like it was like, but I just really like hyper focused. The only thing I was scared about is when I went up to 8-3 is that like I did it so fast. There's still like 15 minutes left of the third period. And I was like, if I can do that so fast, this guy's team could do that. And I was like, but I was like, as long as I get enough, it's like I just need it. So then I just started like I was doing exactly what I hate, which is like I was holding the puck, kind of skating back and kind of like, you gotta come to me and press out, which is what you should. It's just smart play, but it's a bitch play, but it's smart play. And that it's like, I need this win. And I got a ton of skill bonus. You get like bonus for win and the skill, which means like the differential from how much better their team is to your team.
Nice.
So if your overalls are even, it's not that much. If your overall is way higher, you don't get that much skill bonus because it's like, well, you know. But if their overall is way higher, you get like.
Does that affect rank, or is it just like
it does because it's how many points it goes up and you go up in rank. So it's like that win meant more. Like if I beat me, I wouldn't go up a ton because it's like your skill is about the same. Or if I had their team, like the guys that beat me the first two probably didn't go up that much. They still went up because of the wins, but because the difficulty of the win, because of the team you were playing, didn't. But vice versa, when the underdog wins, I go up so much more because it's like you won and you won against like you're like the AHL team beating the NHL team. So it's kind of like that's a bigger feat than just like playing on the same thing. So that is nice. So and I did get to do that. So that was like bang, whip that ass. But I'm not. It's like I can't not play. But I know I'm just in it because they're still suspending the 32. This is the last one.
Okay.
So I know I won't be in it, but that's fine. It was cool to like compete in it. I wish I had a better team. I think for next year or whatever, when they do it, I'll actually like kind of try to build up a team and see if we can make a run.
Cool.
But yeah, no, it was fun. And NHL, Gaming World Championship, a lot of fun. You should watch it. They are gonna like they stream the games on Twitch and stuff. So it does look pretty cool. And then also I put in for Chell, Valorant, and CS:GO to be part of Four Loco Fridays on Barstool Game Time. They're taking like people who want to play in competitions for that. Cool. They do Warzone a lot. I haven't played Warzone in a year, so I will lose 100% of that time. Or any Call of Duty. I just haven't played.
Yeah.
I will play if it just gets me in the game, but it's just not my game. I like those other people who play it like all the time. But like Valorant, CS:GO, Chell, I'm very confident I could kick the shit out of 99% of people. So that'd be great. So I did sign up for the Four Loco Fridays Stool Game Time. So hopefully they see that, and we'll probably clip this and then just tag them. So it's like we're gonna get a little more aggressive in our social and just see what happens. But yeah, so that'll be fun. If they put me in, but it would be fun. But yeah, then I played some new Valorant because I told you the new season started. I gotta play the new map. It's called Breeze. It's actually awesome.
Word.
It's like a beach, kind of feels like Halo-esque. There's a lot of like traversal in it with like zip lines and like fake walls, which is like kind of interesting. I like it a lot. It's not in. I haven't got it on the competition rotation yet, so I still get the original maps on that. But I just played it directly because you can play the new maps directly in non-competitive mode, so just so you can like learn it and then you play competitive. So I did learn it. I played it like 10 times and I was like, all right, I'm ready if this comes across my competitive rotation. It just hasn't, which kind of pissed me off because like I actually think it's really interesting and I want it in the competitive. So I don't know if it's actually not in the competitive rotation yet or like you just don't get it because sometimes it's like, I mean, you could play for hours and just only get like 4 maps. It's so fucking annoying. I wish they could be like, which maps do you want to show up in the bracket? But maybe they don't do that because like some people just never play fucking Icebox, for example. Like everybody hates Icebox. So I'm just curious if that's more of the issue. But that's good. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. They got a new battle pass out, which I did get because it's only like 10. I like their battle pass because it's $10 and you can get skins for all your guns and stuff like that. I don't like buying the skins in the pack because the skins in the pack are like $50. But if you buy the battle pass, it's $10. They're different skins, but in like the $50 ones are like they have more cool shit. I don't really fucking care. Like I'm never gonna do that. But the battle pass is like I can get all those skins and stuff, but you just earn it by playing like those skins.
Cool.
So it's like great, I'll do that. And like to me, that's like for a game that was free. Like I didn't buy Valorant, but I got for free. So like a $10 battle pass every 4 months is like or 3 months or whatever. That's fine to me, right? It's good. It literally takes 2 years for me to spend $60 on the game. So it's like, no, that math is wrong. But like a year and a half. Because there's 4, I would do it $40 in year 1, and then so it would take a year and a half. But I mean that's with the battle pass, that's kind of cool. Like that's the one I'm fine with. Just buying the skins outright. People do it. Like I'll see them and I'll steal. Like you kill the people and you can take their gun until you die. You have it.
Yeah.
So you get their skin and it's like it's cool. Like the Prime 2.0 or Prism 2.01. It looks sick. But I looked up that pack. It's like $100 real life dollars, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But again, it adds nothing functional. It's just a look. Which is why I like the battle pass. I'm like, all right, I'll get the cool look stuff, but I'm not gonna like spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I do like everybody likes character customization.
It's like the drug lords that like gold plate
the
their
gold
guns. It's like,
AK-47
that doesn't help anything, but
the bullet's not faster from it. Actually might, to be honest, that might be more of a hindrance because maybe it weighs more or something like that.
Probably,
so it's actually harder to accurate, potentially adding to the recoil, things like that. I don't think they're thinking about those things, but so exactly. So it's just kind of that, which is again, unlike Shell where you pay money, you get better players.
Yeah.
I would prefer it's like, oh, you just get the different jerseys and shit, which you could, I guess, buy jerseys with that, but no, that would be a waste of money because it's like just get the real shit, which is like the players. So that's what I don't mind. So playing that a little bit, and then I also got Returnal, which is the big game, it's really the second PS5 game that was $70, but it is like the first. It's the game that everybody's like, this is why you get a PS5. It's the first like game that feels like this is the next generation. So I didn't get to play it a ton, so I'll kind of review it next week. But it's a roguelike game. It is fucking, from what I have played, the graphics are incredible. The use of the DualSense controller, it's an exclusive to PlayStation. The use of the DualSense controller, the traversal in it, it is the amount of shit that's going on during boss fights or any fights. It is crazy what's happening. Just from the look, feel, the sound design, all of it, the story, it is so good. And it's like blowing up on like every review site. They're like, it's great. There are a couple bugs with it. The one caveat is, which is terrifying because it's a roguelike, it's like 2 to 3 hour, you have to basically replay the game a bunch.
Yeah.
And it takes about 2 to 3 hours to beat one run.
Okay.
And there's no saves during that 2 to 3 hours. So you have to survive the whole thing. Right. And some people's games are crashing.
Oh no.
But you kind of get, it seems to only happen if you change your character's outfit and stuff. So it's like, well, just in the meantime, just keep the original outfit until they patch it. But you still get like some of the other assets. Like it is kind of like the guns instead of your crew. You can still start with those. Cool. So it's not terrible. But the whole point of the game is like, you're going to have to like replay that anyways.
Yeah.
I think you have to do it 6 times. Because of all the bosses. And basically once you kill a boss, on your next playthrough, that boss won't be there. So the bosses, once you
Cool.
kill them, are done.
Yeah.
But basically, the more you play, the more story you uncover. And there's still like people play like 30 hours, right? Done all the boss, but they're like, there's still stuff we don't know because you can keep doing more playthroughs.
Yeah.
So it's still like they just nailed it, and they nailed it to make it feel like the first true next generation game. Like this feels like it could not be done on literally anything else with a different in even a different system, because the DualSense controller is so well utilized in the game. It's like this is when they're like, what's the games for PS5? What's the games for Xbox? This is the game you're waiting for next gen.
Yeah.
It is Returnal is the first of them. The second of them, we saw it state of play, and it's Ratchet and Clank. Speaking of so much shit going on, graphics, sound, Returnals, it looks incredible, plays incredible. Ratchet and Clank, the 20-minute playthrough, or like 17-minute playthrough, they did a state of play, is like on a map. It looks like a CGI cutscene that they rendered in like a Pixar movie, but
Okay.
it's all rendering in real time, and you are controlling it. It's like that is it is surreal. It is what feels like holy shit, we've hit another level. And like PC players are like, we could do that forever. I know, I have the PC, I got it. But to get that, but your developers weren't making these level of games. That's the thing. It's like PC had the hardware to do this, but the developers for PC are making games like Valorant and stuff like that, which is great. And there are developers that do make these kind of games, but the console developers are the ones that people like put like that you hear about, right? They're like the Naughty Dogs, the Rockstars, things like that. You know, the Bungie. These are the ones that are like they port shit to PC, but it always is first to console generally, and they're the ones who are like, well, that's where the money is, because PC has money, but their developers are always kind of like one-off stuff. If not that they again don't make that, but it's like these AAA games always seem to be coming from these developers, the console developers. So it's interesting to get these AAA developers who are so good, right? Basically getting the treadmill, getting the work to do the next gen. And like Ratchet and Clank, like I only played them a couple. Like I was never a big Ratchet, like, oh, the next Ratchet.
Yeah.
I am day one playing this game. It was like, and I was kind of sold from the trailer, but I was like, it's cool. Rift Apart looks dope. But this 20-minute gameplay thing, I don't think I've ever been more 180 from like I'm neutral to a game to like I have to play that game day one until like when I saw the state of play this week. It was so flawless, so well done, so interesting. All of it just looked like, I mean, they just fucking rocked it. It looks so fucking good. The story looks awesome. And yeah, it really, and I got pumped obviously from Returnal, but it kind of made me feel like we're now next gen. And like Returnal made me feel that, and then I saw this and I'm like, I want to keep feeling like I'm in the next gen. I can't wait to see God of War 2, because I'm sure that's going to blow everyone's fucking mind if it doesn't get delayed. But you know, whenever it does come out, I'm sure it'll still be great. Yeah. But yeah, so did you see any of that? Or I guess we could talk about Rift Apart, because that is definitely something I think that's pretty cool.
I didn't see any of that. I did play. I finished Vader Immortal, which it's definitely a cool game. We started it here, and
yeah, that's an Oculus VR game. Also, side note, they introduced a new character. Rivet is the female long box, which is what Ratchet is. Like that's like his race or whatever.
Ratchet and Rivet, I like it.
Yeah, so it's Ratchet, Rivet, and Clank.
Because it's kind of like Rosie the Riveter too, where it's I like it.
Yeah, I guess so. Actually,
back to that.
Yeah. So it's cool. So it's Ratchet, Rivet, and Clank technically. Nice. But yeah, she looks badass. So, anyways,
yeah,
and you get to play as her as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So Vader Immortal was pretty dope. The biggest downside is just the length of the game. Like, it sounds like it's setting it up for this huge thing, and they like start doing all this world building, and then the game's just done.
Now, did you play? Are you saying the game's just done from like episode 1, or did you play all the episodes?
I mean, everything that they had on.
Right, it's like 3 episodes or something like that, right?
I'm not even sure. Like, whatever I have, I don't know if I need to download more or buy another.
There is, so you have to buy the episodes. So I don't know, but I don't know how many you downloaded. So
I think I just had the first one.
Okay, so there's at least 3 episodes.
Okay.
There might be.
All right, that makes a lot more sense then, because I was like, okay, it's just done. Like it rolled credits. I was like,
well, let's go off of it, assuming there is 3 episodes, but let's go off of it, assuming there's 1 episode. Your take is this game is too fucking short because it sets up too much.
Yeah.
So how about this? How did it end? Because then I can tell you if that actually is the end or it's not the end.
It ends with like Vader coming in, making you like put this key into this thing that like starts whatever mortal engine thing that he needs to become immortal. And then all these guards that were like statues drop down and start fighting you, and like they're these 8-foot tall robot things. And you're like defending yourself, but every time you glance over, Vader's just like ripping them apart.
So you're teamed up with Vader,
kind of.
Okay, and he's just whipping ass.
Yeah, like he's still like forcing you to do stuff and trying to like get you to his side, but you're both fighting these things that are just
so did you get to
whatever's in the room.
Did you get to Mustafar, the lava planet?
Yeah, I mean that's where you start, I think.
Is it? Okay, I saw it's an ancient mystery beneath the fiery surface of Mustafar. You have to use your lightsaber skills against terrifying new enemies and master the force to discover the truth. Yeah, I'm reading episodes 2 description, by the way. You're continuing your journey through the Dark Vader's Dark Fortress. That's
all right. Then that sounds like it is more to it. That makes sense then.
Okay, that sounds more than what you saw.
Yeah.
I could just go to 3 and be like, yeah. So this did come out in 2019. So I'm actually glad that you think it's just episode 1 because I was really, when we played it at my house, I think I only played like 5 minutes of it, 10 minutes.
I think
like,
you played a good half hour.
We got like we just got the lightsaber and I did it like twice and that was like it. But I mean, it got me pumped. It was like, this feels like the Star Wars game I wanted to fucking play.
Yeah.
I will say that all of these episodes they're saying is about 45 minutes to an hour each. So how long? I guess it's more like how long did it take you? Because that's another thing is we can just
So yeah, we played like 15-20 minutes and then I played like another 25 minutes, half an hour, and that was pretty much it.
Did you get an ancient lightsaber?
I think so.
Because the 3rd episode is with an ancient lightsaber by your side and the Force is your ally, you'll gain an army and
I don't have any Force power, so
you don't have the Force powers.
And I have like a regular looking lightsaber. I don't know ancient.
Did you have control of an army and launch an all-out assault on Vader's fortress?
Definitely not.
Okay, so you finish episode 1. So which is also like, so each episode's like $10. That makes it feel like, oh, this is like, just reading the description, I'm like, this sounds fucking sick.
Yeah.
So
it's like, part of me is disappointed that like I have to pay more, but at the same time, I really like the pay structure of like having something broken out into episodes that you pay to like keep playing.
Yeah, because what
rather
if you hate
than
it?
like $70 and then you're like, this game kind of sucks.
Right.
Which is how I felt. I hate to say it, how I felt about Witcher. I just can't get into it.
I mean,
Witcher
takes a lot of people. It takes a long time to get into if you like don't do all the side. The problem is Witcher 3, you can do the side quests and like nothing.
I just hate how the character feels.
He does feel weird, but that's because in the beginning you don't have a lot of traits. It's like towards the end you feel more comfortable. The combat is actually like awesome, but it kind of sluggish and sucks in the beginning. Because you're kind of sluggish and suck in the beginning. But you have to get like 20 hours into the game, so you feel like, wow, this feels incredible. But to a lot of people, it's like when people watch new shows, they want to be gripped by like episode 1, but it's like sometimes like, oh no, you gotta get 3 episodes in.
Characters are
after the 3rd, 4th episode, you'll be hooked. And some people are like, I have to be hooked to episode 1, right? So like Breaking Bad will hook you immediately, but other shows might take a couple episodes to be like, now I'm invested, right?
I mean,
now
a lot of them take a whole season. Shit, The Office was like almost canceled after the first season.
Right. So that's kind of like how I explained Witcher 3 because I had the same thing, and that's kind of like it. It's kind of like you have to think of it as like we got to play a couple episodes till you're in. Then you will be like, this game is incredible.
Yeah, it's almost too though. Like,
but it's like, do you want to invest?
How much time do I have to invest in games?
Right.
And if I could play through 3 other games in the time that it takes for Witcher to just start being fun, then obviously I'm going to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the same. That's what I'm saying. It's like TV. It's like you might just be like, I can watch something else I'm going to be invested in immediately, as opposed to waiting. And especially with how you play video games. I mean, did you even finish Last of Us yet?
No. I mean, we've been doing a lot of Mario.
I know.
We did finish Sunshine, my roommate and I,
Oh,
and
nice.
we moved on to Galaxy, which Galaxy is just genius. Like,
yeah, 1 or 2, just the first one.
just the first one.
Okay, yeah. Did you so you guys liking it so far?
Yeah.
Nice.
Is 2 out yet?
I thought it did come out, but let's check. I could just be making that up.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just for anyone who doesn't know, just little planets that you're bouncing around and like just getting to play with gravity and having gravity
Super Mario Galaxy 2, right?
I guess
That came out in 2010.
Then
what are you playing the new one?
It's the one that's in 3D All Stars.
I don't. Well, the thing is, I haven't played that. Are you talking about Super Mario 3D World?
I don't.
That's
think
the
so.
one that came out in 2013.
Whichever one's in 3D All Stars.
I have no fucking. What do you mean 3D All Stars? I love that where it's like people listening. I bet people listening who know this are like, it's like when I watch them, they're like, it's fucking blah blah, you idiot. But we can't hear. So that came out in 2020. Is this after? Is this after? So
3D All Stars came out recently.
So yeah, but
you have to look up 3D All Stars.
So it's 3D All Star. I did. It has high definition ports of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Boom. There we go. Okay, so yeah, Galaxy 2 came out 11 years ago.
Damn.
So you have a lot to get through. That's what I thought. I was like, I feel like it did. So 3D All Stars is, that's right. 3D All Stars is the Switch's HD port of those 3 games, right? Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Yeah, dude. Okay, cool. So you beat 64, Sunshine, and now you're doing Galaxy.
Yeah, and just to specify, my roommate beat them.
Okay,
we trade off, but he does like a bulk of it just because
he's like 70, you're 10,
I guess,
or like 90 and you're 10.
Yeah.
So he's basically,
like, I don't know.
He's basically so you're Hitch, and he's Kevin James, because you're like, you go 90 and I'll come 10. You don't go the full 100. That's what you're saying.
Did they kiss? I guess they did.
Yeah, they do. When that scene happened, he's like, Kevin James just kisses him, and he's like, I said you go 90, I go 10. You don't go the full 100. That's basically you and Griggs. You're like, Griggs, you go 90, I'll go 10. Like, you edge it, I'll finish it off.
I mean, that sounds like I was beating Bowser, which I was not.
Right, but you're saying he does the bulk of it, so it sounds like he does basically the heavy lifting. Then you're kind of like, oh, fun, play with it, blah blah blah.
That being said, he's also played most of them before, and
so he's beaten these before
and has seen like speed runs, so he's a little more invested in.
Well, I know the 64 speed runs he watches like obsessively, or did at one point. Yeah. So those I know you guys were utilizing like speed run tactics, but that's good. So how long you been playing Galaxy then?
Just this week, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does sound like you need to get episode 2 and 3 of Vader Immortal and let us know how that is, because it sounds like you just finished episode 1, which makes me feel a lot better. Mainly for 2 reasons. One, that it was the Star Wars game that made me feel like I was in the Star Wars thing. I will say the ratings have gotten 1, 2, and 3 go better ratings each one, so that's good. And it's like I wanted to feel like that, so it's like it's good that it's like, okay, it's short, but that's only because you played the first episode, so there's more to be involved. 2, John Rush did the sound for that.
Nice.
So hopefully it's good, because I only say that because it's ILM. I think did this. So
yeah, I mean, just the lightsaber stuff is pretty sweet. Like
now we mentioned the Foley in that thing sounds incredible, right? Because I think think this was actually LucasArts ILM.
I actually did notice a Foley thing where you don't get the full lightsaber sound unless you're swinging like full swings. Like if you're just like jiggling it back and forth, like, it's just like a little like.
Oh, nice! So you can do
and
that.
It's not so you're like big swings. It is like.
Love that.
Yeah,
that sounds fucking awesome. Not the noise you made, but that sounds awesome. You're not what's his name from fucking Police Academy, but
no, I am not.
Good movies. People are like, what is that? That's old as shit. Like,
it is old as shit.
Yeah. So are we. But no,
I do explain to my boss the difference between like typing haha HAHA or like ha HA space HA. And I'm like, the other one sounds a lot more sarcastic. So if you're actually trying to be funny, don't do that.
Yeah. That's smart. You're teaching. You're a teaching man.
It's a real teachable.
I realize like my mic has been like, I've been like eating it. Like, Like
you up in it a little bit.
yeah, so I was hungry. What can I say? All right, so let's move on. We also got actually kind of going, I guess, because we kind of stream right into that is Oculus. Big hits on Oculus is that you have to have a Facebook account for Oculus.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, where it's like,
Mortal,
do you want your
right
information to be out there? Like, is it tracking your eye movements? Is it whatever?
Right,
like
and
scanning your house and
right, or do you want to just be able to turn it on and be like, I can just log in with a random name that has no connection to really anything, maybe my credit card because I can buy from the store, but like that's it for authentication. I don't need this to like actually address to like my social life. And I remember we talked about that a lot when we were talking about this. So it sounds like from the Oculus, they had like a little like, why can I not think of it? Showcase.
Yeah.
The other week. So they did announce from what you were saying that they are going to have a Facebookless login authentication. But the caveat is it's an additional $500.
yeah, which is more than the largest console or the largest version of that you can get. Period.
Yeah, so it's like it's $300 for the 256, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want the 256, it's $300. Or if you want it without Facebook, it's $800. Is it 300 plus
Maybe
500?
it's 300 and 400.
Here, let me.
I think it's 300 and 400. So $800 and $900. Either way, though, yeah, the fact that your privacy is worth $500 is kind of the big takeaway from that, which is insane. Like it's one thing to just be like, all right, well, they're getting my buying habits, they're getting my whatever, but buying habits are not worth $500. So like, what other information do they get from that? And it's good to know I'm worth so much.
No, it is 300 and 500. Yeah, so it's about like an $800 sit up.
Yeah,
set up now. I mean, and I would say the biggest factor of Oculus Quest 2 is the price tag.
Yeah.
That it just feels so inviting.
Yeah, that's why it puts it in so many hands and makes it so accessible.
It's well built. It has some of the best resolution stuff you can get. It doesn't need a computer. And the price is right at the perfect price point. But then just being like, well, now it's $800. Like, well, what the fuck? Like, if you're doing that, you might as well just buy like the Index or something like that, where you need like other shit. It's just like, yeah. And like, kind of like you said, like, I mean,
yeah,
I get you want to be
conspiracy
private,
theorist, but like,
it's a little much.
$500 is a lot.
Yeah, and
that's
like
more.
That's
than
a PS5.
Yeah, that's more than just buying habits. That's more than just like eye tracking. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. Like,
well, because I think they just really are deterring people from even wanting it because they want the.
You think that's it?
Yeah, I think
that's not like the actual price difference.
Yeah, I think it's the price is, but I'm saying Facebook wants to deter people from getting the without Facebook version. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, we'll just up the fuck out of the price, and it's kind of like it's like, I mean, yeah. Facebook obviously wants your data, but there's also settings you can make, which is like sharing. Yeah. Obviously, they're probably like opt out, so you have to just do that. And some people, it's like, maybe they just don't trust that turning those off, or they don't look into it. Yeah. So it's kind of like
that being said, every console kind of does that to a certain extent too, to get you to buy games. So maybe it is tied to like having that exclusive Facebook marketplace, because like
and also to be noted, that is only sold for businesses.
Interesting.
The Quest 2 without Facebook. You just don't
so
need
like if you want to use it for real estate or training or something like that.
And that is an $800 price tag with an annual fee of $180 that kicks in after the first year.
Huh.
But that covers Oculus business services and support. So basically you're paying $800 straight up, and then you're paying another almost $200 annually to not use Facebook, unless you're doing this for a business. But even if you're doing it for business, just buy the other fucking one. Like, unless like you need to set up your own authentication system and that's why you do it, it just seems like, dude, like, why in the fuck would you spend that much extra
not logging into a personal Facebook account?
Yeah, but you could just create a business like guest account or something for Facebook.
You could, but if you're trying to be professional and
No, I get it, but it's like I would rather do that than spend the extra money than a $200. I mean, you're basically buying a new one every year with that annual price.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like that is I didn't even see that till right now, and after reading that, I'm like, that's fucked. Like, and so again, it's not even direct to consumer; it's business. So if you're really that worried, you would pretend you're a business. But like, so now it's not even $500; it's $700 because you have the annual fee, and it's like it's a reoccurring fee.
Yeah,
it's like, is it? And I guess this is like, is it worth you? At that point, I would just not get a VR. Like, if that's really it, or just wait till somebody else is.
Well, it's also just a lot of technology packed into a package like that. And if you're not using it as intended, then I could see how they up the price a little bit.
Yeah, but like I would just say just don't use it. If you're not going to do it, just wait till somebody else makes another wireless one, which we know Valve is going to have one. Yeah. So just wait, and they obviously don't have Facebook authentication. Yeah. So they'll probably be like, you need a Steam account. So
I wonder too if it's to stop people from buying it up for the hardware, because I feel like that's what happened.
You mean like scalpers?
No, like if you like dismantle it and use like the LiDAR engineering or something like that. Yeah. Where it's like basically just parting it.
Yeah, reverse engineering it is what you're talking about.
Well, reverse engineering, it's like rebuilding it.
No, reverse engineering is taking it apart.
Taking it apart to make more of it. I'm saying if you
or to make to anything else. It's just to see how it works, so you could reuse the LiDAR system to something else.
Yeah, I'm just saying like from a purely hardware standpoint.
Yeah, they would take out the LiDAR and could use it for.
That was not my understanding of reverse engineering, but you would basically
it's basically taking a finished product and bringing it to not an unfinished product, as opposed to an unfinished product to a finished product.
So if you can just take all the technology in there and use it for something else, and you buy like 1,000 of them at that price point,
right? Because it's cheaper to get those semiconductors by doing that as opposed to ordering them from wherever.
Because that's the same type of thing you saw with Bitcoin mining and computer graphics cards.
Oh yeah,
it's like, oh, this graphics card was $500 and was like a big gaming thing that a lot of people were excited to be able to get their hands on. And then people that were mining bought them
like,
all
that's
out.
Perfect.
So it was impossible to get a hold of because people were using it for this other corporate thing. And it was made for gamers and none of them could get their hands on
and
them.
Now actually because of that, they've actually lowered their warranty windows for just across the board. Because now they used to be like a year or like 90 days or whatever.
But when they're running them now 100% and they're
now it's like 30 days or like half a year. They basically cut their warranties by like 2/3 or half, like every graphics card company.
That's crazy.
Because of Bitcoin mining. Because they're like, you're going to burn them out. And then you're like, oh, this broke within the window. Give me a new one for free. Yeah. They're like, what the fuck? And they're like, well, if you're playing, these video games, it's not going to do that because you're not doing
when you're doing it 4 hours a day or whatever.
Yeah, 24/7 at that full rate. It's like it's going to burn out, and it's like then they could just buy it once basically and replace it. So then they're like, well, we got to take the warranty away, and it's crazy. So that's actually the first time we've seen something like that's like fucking the consumer that actually wants it for the intended purpose.
So that's all to say that maybe Facebook is trying to make sure something like that doesn't happen.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe companies aren't buying their systems for the technology inside.
Well, I think it's also because they're not getting the data from it, and they're more like we use the data to leverage the consumer experience, and if we can't do that on this version, then we need to aggregate what's the number, like how much do we think each consumer is giving us in data, and then we need to add that number to this price tag. So I think that's also part of the price tag is like maybe the additional couple $100 is like, well, we're losing $300 in consumer data, so we need to get that because we're not getting that anymore. So it's like I'm sure it's all those factors, and it's just crazy. So I mean, if you want it, go make an LLC and get it, I guess. But I would just get the Valve or get somebody else that's going to be just as good, and just wait 6 months because they're not going to be the only successful wireless VR headset at the end of this year. Like the Valve Index 2 will definitely, at least if it's not out, be announced at E3. And I'm sure there's other competitors we don't even know about are going to come in. We know PSVR 2 is coming out next year. And we know it's single corded, but I mean, even then, single corded is not terrible. If you have the PS5, it's like maybe it's not going to be bad. We still have to see what it actually looks like. But we know Valve has
still
the
plugging in their old GameCube controllers into like the Switch and stuff. So
yeah, it's not terrible. It's you just can't pick up and go, which is like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But because of that, it should be better because they're putting all the power on the PS5 as opposed to putting it into a smaller chipset. So it's like, and also speaking of Facebook, by the way, my new friend Mark Zuckerberg, I commented, they were talking about they want to put part of this Oculus thing. They were talking about he wants to have the glasses that everybody's, used to be hot in the streets and then kind of like went away, the smart glasses. And he's like, it's all about the chips in there. And I was like, well, the Apple's M1 chip would be a good position for this because that basically system on a chip has allowed for extreme innovation in smaller scales because it's such a small chip and it has everything that it allows for you to scale up anything. So it's a good thing to look into for this. And Mark Zuckerberg actually replied to me on
awesome.
it. And he was like, well, these glasses are a little small. The chips would need to be a little smaller than that because of this glasses frame. And I was like, correct. But what I'm saying is that was like the innovation that can get there, just judging by Moore's law, with that it's just going to so it's already obsolete and there's something better. Now that exists and has existed, there's already something better leveraging that type of technology because now we know that door is open to where it can just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And you can see it by the new iMacs, for example, are like fucking pencil thin because of the M1 chip and the way it can recycle air and stuff and the fan usage. It just cuts out so much extra shit, and because everything is on the chip and the chip's smaller. So eventually you're going to be able to make that chip smaller, and Facebook can reverse engineer that chip and essentially do it from that is what I was saying. But I just thought it was wild because I was getting all these pings, and then like I was like, why are so many people tagging Mark Zuckerberg in my comment? Like he doesn't. I go reply to his post. Like, why are you replying to me? And like my friend was like, do you know Mark Zuckerberg replied to you? And I was like, what? And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, all right, new best friend.
That's dope.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, screenshot that. Yeah. So Glad You Game Pod. It's probably Mark Zuckerberg's favorite gaming podcast, probably because we talk about Oculus so much. So Mark Zuckerberg, friend of the program. But yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Speaking of old shit, I actually kind of wanted to, this was kind of just near and dear to my heart that I thought I was talking about is the Matrix Online. It died 12 years ago, like with all the servers went offline. I actually did play it a lot because I love the Matrix. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't the best one, but it was okay. But some fans are just like trying to keep it alive by just like the same way they keep Star Wars Galaxies alive, where they just have like fan servers and keep building it because they just won't let it die by being like this. It was an innovative thing. And I saw Kotaku made a report about that this year, just saying like, oh, we can bring back Matrix Online and kind of just talking about how it's not really dead and Matrix 4 is coming out soon. So everybody's like, oh, do we reinvigorate Matrix Online? And be like, well, fans actually started their own fan server for Matrix Online.
That's pretty cool.
And it's like keeping it alive. And that made me think of, well, Matrix Online for me, but also Star Wars Galaxies, which is my favorite MMO of all time, and how like I'm on a fan server from that. And I waited my room and I, we were watching it for 7 years until it released. We were like part of the forums and everything. And then now it's out and you can download it. The bitch is you have to use the original serial keys, which are like impossible to get.
Huh.
Yeah. So you have to get like the original CD-ROM serial key because it uses the base installation and then everything after that. So you have to get that to get access, basically to get the key card access.
Interesting.
So now because they don't make it anymore, it's like they're expensive. So if you don't have your originals, it's kind of hard. And also putting those originals in modern computers is also becoming more of a problem because, for example, if you look at my computer, it doesn't have a CD-ROM bay at all.
This is true. Yeah.
So it's like, where would you put it in there? Oh, wait, you can't. So then you basically have to emulate it or save the thing as an ISO file on a flash drive and then put the ISO on there. It's a lot of work, but you get to play the game. So I don't know. That's kind of cool. It just made me think about like fans keeping stuff alive and just like what's like one game that you would keep alive if you could. Mine, Star Wars Galaxies, because obviously it is. But do you have a game that kind of is no longer supported, but you're like, as a fan, you're like, well, that's the one I would keep trying to push. Come back.
Probably Time Splitters 2.
Okay. There you go.
So I didn't really get to play a ton of that online just because that wasn't really the thing back then. Right. It was more couch co-op-y type things. But I still would love to see that ported or kind of upgraded, because that game was just fun as hell. The graphics were really the biggest limiting factor. Also, the space, because you could make your own levels, but you had to make the levels that were basically whatever memory you had on your 8 or 16 megabyte card.
Right.
It would just eat up that space. And like I remember getting rid of like other saved games just so I could make bigger levels, and they were not big. Like, especially compared to something like Little Big Planet when I was making these expansive things.
Right. Do your Little Big Planet levels are crazy.
But yeah, you could do that with Time Splitters 2 and make your own multiplayer maps. And I remember those things were like fun as hell to dick around with, but to be able to do it on like a larger scale and have like a Mario Makers type of like level sharing system for online would be cool.
That would be dope. And the nice part about that is, I guess to tell you, they announced there is a Time Splitters 2 remake coming out. So that's like something that sounds like it might be. And they're having a sequel game too for Time Splitters 4 as well. But it sounds like they are officially going ahead with that. That was in 2020. They announced that it's finally coming. The iconic shooter, which stood the test of time, is ready to join the era of modern games. Here, see for yourself. And it's a video of the Time Splitters 2 remake. So, which actually looks pretty good. So you can check that out after this. But definitely kind of a cool thing. So, and speaking of, you just mentioned time, I was like, I could have sworn I read something about that recently. So that'll be a fun for you to little thing. We'll send that to you. So give you that one. All right. Anyways, I'm still up on this. Okay, cool. All right. So speaking of like times where shoot, which is great for their shooting and fighting mechanics, also going to fighting is we talked about this last week. I was talking about like making money from fighting games, Mortal Kombat, obviously. So Tekken and Mortal Kombat actually pulled out of a bunch of esports events from WePlay recently last week, in which they were hosting Tekken 7, Soul Calibur 6, and Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
It was Bandai Namco and NetherRealm. Basically, Bandai Namco said, Bandai Namco Entertainment is constantly striving to deliver the best esports tournaments and events to please our players and fans. Due to differences in vision and professional standards, we will no longer be working with WePlay as an esports tournament organizing partner. NetherRealm said NetherRealm Studios is constantly striving to foster the best esports tournaments for our dedicated fans and community. Due to differences of vision, we will no longer allow our games to be utilized in WePlay operated sporting events. These are different companies that sound like they just wrote the exact same statement.
Yep.
Even though they said they didn't, but it's like almost the same wording, just kind of shifted.
I wonder if there's just like an HR service that you can use that it's like, we'll write a statement for you.
They're like, yes, please. It's a nice, important to note, the last grand pool of their last week prize was $150K. So it was a big one. So it's not well known why they did this. WePlay, they operate with 1xBet, which was why a lot of people think this is the problem. Basically, they were previously partnered with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham like football clubs.
Okay.
And they were suspended from operating in the United Kingdom after an investigation found they were facilitating gambling on children's sports in Kenya and advertising on illegal streaming sites and promoting a so-called Pornhub casino with topless female dancers. Uncovered similar illicit events as well last year. 3 of the owners were wanted by the investigative committee of Russian Federation. If you're wanted by the Russian Federation, that's terrifying. So I'm not sure how that works, but it seems like WePlay's
that being said, Russia's not really on the up and up with competition level sports.
Well, that's kind of why I'm like, if Russia's going after you, it's like, what did you fucking do? Obviously,
everything just enforce the rules on them.
Yeah, probably everything I just said. Obviously, is pretty fucked up. Like gambling on children's sports in Kenya, the illegal streaming sites, the Pornhub casino.
Yeah,
that one I'm kind of like.
Well, I mean, but I also know people people that like bet on like the like Little League World Series too. So
yeah, but I think this is different than that. But
I would assume.
Yeah, let's not defend these. But it's but basically people are assuming it's really their partnership with them that it's doing it, because there hasn't been something that's like, oh, they just did this. So we play then had an announcement. The purpose of We Play Esports and 1xBet partnership is the expansion of the esports scene and the opportunities for everyone involved in it. We are aware of the fact that 1xBet does not operating in certain countries. 1xBet has assured us that the brand abides by all relevant laws and regulations in every jurisdiction in which it operates. The fact that they put all relevant laws, you could just say abides by the laws. The relevant laws is like, who is deciding if these law, like, so that means you're deciding if a law is relevant or not. You're like, oh, that's not, that one's fine.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to keep harping on it, but like the sports thing, like if it's illegal or if it is legal in Kenya to bet on sports,
it's I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
Just like, let's just leave that. I get what you're trying to say. It's like if they allowed in Kenya, I don't think they did. It says illegal, and then also they were hosts. It wasn't just that; it was also illegal streaming sites, things like that. They had it was a history of things. So not okay. So then We Play also had a response to the Bandai Namco and NetherRealms were saying, We Play has always strived to raise the standards in every tournament we put together by delivering the highest quality events using innovative production techniques and providing the best conditions for players and talents alike. With WUFL Season 1, we put together one of the most memorable FGC tournaments to date, approved by Bandai and NRS, so Bandai Namco and NetherRealm Studios. Our goal was always and still to provide the community with a world-class event that everyone can enjoy. The news received today caught us by surprise since WFL began and after the event finished. We tried to discuss future seasons, go over feedback, and address the first season with both NRS and Bandai, but have had no response. Our vision and dedication to the FGC has not changed, and we will continue to move forward by making amazing events and content the community deserves. That's a pretty okay.
Yeah.
That's like a normal company response. It doesn't seem, from what I'm seeing here, anything else. I'm just getting this off of Kotaku. So like the way that sounds is like, why did they pull out? And it's like, even what 1xBet did, and then 1xBet was charged with all that stuff in like 2019,
okay,
and 2020. This event just happened, so it's also like, why did you go into business with them if they were already promoted with 1xBet when you did, right? So it's like that, like all of that, and then all that information was known before the FGC started and the WFL.
But it's also, when did you sign contracts and when did you
but
start
it was all
paying out stuff, and
right? But it was all after that information was out. That's the point.
Well, we don't know when contracts were initially signed.
Well, no,
just
they were
because
doing like
the event
1.
happened at this time doesn't mean that they signed the contract a week before. They could have signed it 2 years prior and were just letting that contract run out.
Well, it's definitely not 2 years prior. If worst, it would have been.
No, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt,
but these allegations were out in 2019 and in 2020. So it's like, even if they signed it at the end of 2020, it's still like you very much, or even the beginning of 2020, it's like all that information was still there. Which all the stuff I mentioned, that's like the other stuff was suspended in 2019 after an investigation from the Kenya thing, the illegal sports sites, the Pornhub casino. That's all from 2019. That's like, what the hell? Then Forbes had a similar illicit activities, they said, and they published that in 2020. So it's like, if that was the issue, to me, it seems like some new information, either one of two things happened. New information came out that no one knows about yet. Well, outside of those that are involved, we don't know about it as a public yet. And it's like, okay, that's fair. Then what the fuck is it? 2, they knew about this, didn't think it was a big deal, and now people are trying to like cancel one of them and then trying to be like, how could you work with this company when they did this and you knew about this if you guys looked at anything? Or 3, they did zero research and were like, they got a fuckload of money, let's do this and let's make some fighting tournaments. Which could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that also seems like very poor business practices. Which by the way, I'm not saying they do that. I would think that, I'm just saying, I guess there's a 1% chance that could have been the case. I would seriously doubt. I would bet it's probably more of there's something we don't know, like we just don't know publicly yet, or it's something in the public weren't aware of all of this, or not to the degree they are now, and they're trying to cancel them, and this is their response to.
Yeah. I wonder too if those specific games were like treated differently in the tournament itself, or
it could be like
it or something.
We
like
play
that.
just like they didn't like how We Play handled the tournament.
Yeah,
but the way they're saying their vision is different, and like professional like they both mentioned professional like what the professional standards thing is, like what happened that like it wasn't run to like something that almost means like was it like the World Series, like was it rigged at one point, and it's like they find like
I wonder too if it has anything to do with the competitors.
I mean, it could be like, we don't like that you were letting the competition happen like this when these guys were acting like X, Y, and Z, right? Or something like that. And
or
they're
like someone
you run this shit, you should have shut them down.
Something like there very well could be something that we don't know yet, but it's weird that
And this article, I mean, it's a little old, but not too. It's from Friday, so it's 2 days. This article is 2 days old from recording. So recording May 2nd. This is from April 30th. So it's technically older, but it's like, not that it was like 4 p.m.
Build out.
It was 3:40 p.m. on Friday, so it's pretty new. Now, granted, over the week we might get some more information. They might put out more, but we don't know right now. But I thought it was worth mentioning because we specifically talked about Mortal Kombat 11 fighting tournaments last week, and now that's like, well, we just pulled out of one of the big money ones that we mentioned, and it was hosted.
Like, we got movie rights now. We don't need this.
Maybe
tournament.
They're just out. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's just kind of a big thing. Like I think, and they just the vision and professional standards mentions by both of them is like, it's so like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it seems like it can't be previous information. It feels like something that happened during the tournament or new, but it's worth mentioning.
I have the previous feeling there's going to be their own tournament, and they're really going to like build it up around.
Yeah, but they have other tournaments. That's the thing. It's not like this was the only game in town. So it was like, this is just another money-making machine that had a bunch. But who knows? So we'll find out more. But just figured it was worth kind of going into since we literally just talked about that. I guess with that, we kind of go to some trivia. I mean, that's most, I think, probably the thing. Oh, I guess we did. Well, we could say there's two other things. I'll go one. There was a article on where was that, because I don't want to fuck it up. IGN had a survey. IGN went through a survey, and apparently for developers that PlayStation is PS5 is the most popular console to develop for, the survey suggests, with 44% of saying they're interested in PS5 development, 38% said Switch, 30% said Xbox Series X, and 27% said VR platforms. So it was a 2021. It was GDC's 2021 State of the Industry report based on a survey of over 3,000 games industry professionals. So it is like the people that are doing this shit. And the GDC, the Game Developer Conference, is a very well-respected thing. So before anybody's like, it's fucking Sony's thing, like fucking pull that shit fake news crap back. Like, this is also who is working on it.
It's also crazy how high the percentage is for VR.
That's what I know it's cool to be like PS5 is the most interesting one. I think it has to do more of like the haptic, the controller and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I think it has to do because like if you're thinking about graphics, thing like that, it's like it's similar. The hard drive does let it do so much more because you can load so much data, which Ratchet and Clank showed. It's like we can do a bunch of shit at once, and it's not just loading the graphic; it's moving all this data around. Because our I/O speed is crazy.
It is funny too, though. Like I imagine, at least that's the way it is in like film and stuff, and you can correct me if it's different, but the people creating levels, designing characters, and anything like that are usually different from the people that are adding ray tracing and like polishing textures and whatnot. So I wonder if it is stuff like the controller that's really drawing them in more than just the like graphics and whatnot, because only a certain part of the team is really working on pushing the graphics envelope. Where
I think it's the I/O speed. I think it's the hard drive. That's the only thing it could be, because the graphics would be the same on the Series X or that. What's the difference is the I/O speed is fucking crazy because of the internal hard drive, which everybody like shit on because they have less of a graphics card than Xbox. But the thing is, it allows for so much more shit to happen at once. Your I/O speed does not change with a better graphics card. It just it doesn't.
So
I think
it allows like faster loading and stuff like that. But what else does it allow you to do from a developer standpoint?
I mean, it's not just faster load. It allows you to put go from like 100 objects to 2,000 objects at once, all moving. I mean, it's the Ratchet and Clank demo. The thing that's crazy about it is they're traversing through like 4 different worlds, and they're all, each world has like 1,200 things going on in the environment with ships flying around, all that. There is zero loading, and it's just all this stuff is there rendering in time, and the I/O speed from the hard drive is allowing it to just process all this information and hand over all this information at a speed that we've never seen before, including in PCs, because this is a faster hard drive than is currently in most any PC.
Yeah.
So it's like they do have like better ones now in PCs, I think, but it's about to say, but it's that's the thing that's like that's great. Xbox can't do that.
Yeah.
They can render it at a higher scale, but they're not gonna be able to do the same thing. And it's just like, but they can get around it by doing we're going to punch higher, we can overload our graphics card, and that's going to again do the faster motor to generate this stuff, so they can kind of recreate it in aggregate. But this is what that I/O speed does, and it's like just the beginning of it. So that's what's interesting about that.
Cool.
So I think that's really cool. So that's
almost like Ratchet and Clank was made just to show it off.
I think it definitely
portals and stuff like that, and completely changing. Yeah.
The other one thing to note is in the report, which I actually downloaded the full report. Here is this is the Game Developers Conference official industry report. This is not like an opinion. I mean, these are all opinion, but these are opinion from 3,000 game professionals. They rated everything. This goes all the way, and it's their interest, right? It's these numbers do not aggregate to 100%, right? You could get this panel, and I could select every single option if I wanted to.
Oh, cool.
Right? So you can only hit 100% of everybody picked that platform, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like PlayStation 5, Switch, Series X, VR adds up to 100%. It is that is their percentage out of their 100%.
Yep.
One dimension. PS5 is 44%. Like I said, Xbox is 30, right? So that's, and it's Switch is 38. So it leads the consoles. PC is 58. So PC is still
makes sense. I was like, there seems to be something missing because
and there's an interesting thing I kind of want to go. This is why I downloaded the report. So PC still dominates because there's so much more you can do anything you want on the PC because it's kind of like no holds bar, and you can kind of demand the most graphics you want without the constraints of the console. It's just interesting to see how much further 14% higher PlayStation is than Xbox. And it's because of it has to be because of that hard drive. Probably the hard drive and the controller is my guess.
Yeah.
But anyways, I said to VR is 27%. Also at 27% are two other things, iOS and Android.
Oh, there you go.
AR is 15. Xbox One is 13. I don't even know why it's on there. Web browser is 12. Mac is 12. PS4 is 12. Tabletop, which includes like D&D, 11. xCloud is 8. Linux 6. Google Stadia 6. PlayStation Now 4. Other 2%. Not involved in development, meaning they don't want to do anything with development, 7%. So I mean, this is a pretty interesting report to check out. And then also they go, which platforms have your projects previously been released on? Which is kind of like interesting as well. Is again 58% for PC. So not was the exact percentage of their interest to develop for.
Yeah,
is crazy. All the other numbers are not. They are very different. Whereas PlayStation 5 is 9% have had games out there, and Xbox Series X and S and X have also 9%. iOS is actually number 1 for anything else. It's 35%. And Android's 34, PlayStation 4 26, Xbox One 24, Mac 17, Nintendo Switch 14, VR 12. But so that's kind of interesting. This is an excellent report. And then it's what are you currently developing projects for? Which to me, this is the more interesting one. Because like what is currently in work for these systems? And this is where you can see PC 58%. PC is 58% across the board. This is crazy.
It sounds like if you're a developer that if you want to work in PC, you can.
Yeah, pretty much.
That there's really not
because
any
there's
barrier of entry for that.
Right.
And indie games come out on PC mostly. So it's like if you want to make a game and you're sitting in your wherever, you could just make that game.
Right. The other thing is, so this is what are you currently developing projects for? 27% PS5, 24% Xbox X Series X. Now, interesting, they also have which one do you plan to develop next? So these are what the numbers I just said are what they're currently like.
Yeah.
What do you plan to develop next is they plan 30% plan to have a PS5 game in development, 25% said an Xbox Series X, 19 Switch. PC led again in that one, but it was 53.
Oh.
But so their planned development cycle actually loses percentage from PC and gains it to PlayStation 5, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because that means like you said, there's no barrier to entry, but it sounds like they're like, hey, well, we kind of our next project we think is going to be more Sony based. And it's it's just very interesting stuff. The last one I'll say, because I this could have been trivia, but it's so interesting. VR platforms with most developer interest by a fucking landslide, 52% Oculus Quest. Number 2, PSVR 28%, Valve Index tied at 28%, HTC Vive 26%, Rift 25%, iOS AR 20%, Windows Mixed Reality 16%, Magic Leap 10%, other 15%. So Quest is dominating it.
Yeah.
Now it does have a note on here. Note this was conducted prior to the announcement of Sony's next gen PSVR. So this is saying 28% PSVR interested in 28% and this is before they announced PSVR 2.
Yeah.
So those numbers will probably change, be higher because like, oh, it's even more. But this is also right after Quest 2 came out.
Yeah.
Which is like, that was like obviously going to fucking dominate. I mean, this report is 30 pages long and every page is a different metric.
That's cool.
So it's definitely something we'll check about more. There is one interesting thing we could say is there is one. Does it have the actual real number? Gradual on increase the ratio is 80 to 7. Yeah. So it asks the gender you identify with, which I'm not making a point about this, but it used to be 80% was men, 70% was women, and the rest were either non-binary or prefer not to say, which they also have an option. So it's like everybody can be represented here, which I think is cool. But now this year, it's 73% man, 21% women. Non-binary is 3, prefer not to say is 3. But that shows, again, this is, year's difference, but it shows it's like, obviously it was a heavily dominated male, industry, but now it's like the percentage is gaining. Like women have went from 17 to 21. Not a huge. I mean, it wasn't going to be like 50% the next year.
No, yeah.
But it is nice to see that it's changing because it's creating and the
non-binary out a little bit.
Right, and non-binary and prefer not to say. But it's kind of like it's more of like what like it's not gatekept by your gender.
Yeah,
is the whole point. It's like if you have the idea, creativity, and the ideas, we want you here, and it's nice to see that those metrics are showing that growth. Like it's like we're like it's just becoming a more diverse situation, so we can get all the creativity because games like Returnal or like Vader Immortal, like stuff we talked about today, all that stuff. These games you get by bringing in a bunch of diverse minds and picking everybody's brain.
Yeah,
and I think that's really cool. So I'm not like getting on a soapbox here. I'm just saying, I think that's fucking cool, and I love to see it, and I'm excited to see those numbers keep going up. So that's great. Let's get into trivia. I was getting like this guy went off on a tangent. I always find a tangent, and I thought I wasn't going to today. But anyways, let's do trivia.
Stupid.
Yeah.
All right. So mine is going to be you have to guess the year that the media type was first used.
Okay.
So I'll give you the media type, and this is I believe it's all console. That's what I was aiming for. It should be all console. So cartridge. What year was a cartridge first used?
Who we get a DM from? Okay, sorry. We're getting retweets and stuff that more than usual, and then we've got a DM from a gaming collective.
Nice.
So we'll have to see what that's all about. What year was the cartridge first used?
Yep.
Bing, 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 bing. I was looking at my controller list. 1977.
I will give you that. 76.
Fuck. Oh, I have to be on the year?
No, I said I'll give it to you.
What is my plus minus?
I'll give you 2 years.
Okay. Not bad though.
Yeah. No, that's a real good guess. A disc.
A dick. Ew. Just put it right in the blender. Say, don't make those comparisons. No, we can cut that. It's just like we're not gonna cut that, are we? When was so like CD-ROM or whatever? Probably
any kind of disc.
Is this just console or PC included?
Console.
So this okay. All right. That changes my answer because I was going to say
not floppy disk.
So it's like a CD.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking CD-ROM. That's why I was like, it could be earlier if we include PC, but we're just consoles here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's got to be PlayStation 1, right? It's got to be PlayStation 1 area. So let's say 1993.
You did get it right. 93. There were actually a few out before that.
Fuck.
But
still right though. So.
Yes. Yep. You still got it. FM Towns Marty.
That was the system?
I'm not sure what. Yeah, exactly.
FM Towns Marty?
Yep.
Is that a radio station by a guy named Marty?
Apparently it was super obscure, and I started going down a rabbit hole. Yeah.
You don't have to say apparently it was super obscure. It was evident that was super obscure.
But yeah, 94, I believe, was PlayStation 1.
Oh, okay.
The first downloadable games.
The console, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's PlayStation Network came out with PS2, so then that was the first time they had an online service. But you probably couldn't. I don't know if you could download games on PS2. I want to say PS3, so that would be 2005.
81.
What the fuck? What console had an downloadable game?
Intellivision.
Oh,
yeah. You could like download it.
Blows my mind.
Yeah. Same here.
That's also like before like the internet was really a thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That blew my mind. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I imagine that it was a very like
like thing, I was like trying to think of like just general the networks, and I was like, okay. But okay, cool, fair enough.
Yep. I'm gonna skip the next one because I'm not confident that I know what it is.
I'll just do it. I'll guess. All
right. So FM audio chip.
Is that for FMRD?
It is not actually.
Because then now it's so FM audio chip. So basically they can get radio on their console.
I believe so, unless there's like another audio driver.
93.
It was 86.
Okay. I was guessing because of FMRD. That was literally like the rationale. All right, we know.
Backwards compatibility.
I mean, that's generic as fuck. Like
from one system to another.
I understand the term. It's more of just like, okay, whatever. Well, PS2, it's more of you have to have two systems to have backwards compatibility. So PS2, you could play PS1 games. But could Super Nintendo play Nintendo games? Is more what I'm thinking. How can I not remember? 1989.
86.
Fuck. I was going to say 87.
With the Master System.
Okay.
That could play SG-1000 games on it.
I have no idea what that is.
I believe it's Sega.
I was going to say, is that Sega? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, not 100% sure on this one. It is
I love this might be wrong, but let's find out.
It's very weird, like researching a lot of that stuff because there's so many like weird, obscure one-off. Like, they sold like 10 units of this thing that was using Blu-rays back in 85.
I mean,
and I'm
KFC,
like, what?
Yeah, KFC did really make a game console that like cooks the chicken last year, and it's a real game console. So they're going to be like, if this is like 20 years from now, they're like, KFC's game console was the first to
cook chicken
while being able to play Pong.
Yeah. But then like there's probably like some guy in 95 that had 3 PlayStations stacked on top of each other that was creating so much heat that he cooked chicken by accident. So technically it wasn't the first.
It was sizzling bacon, baby.
Yep. CDI. Compact Disc Interactive.
And this is just consoles again.
Mm.
I don't fucking know. 91.
1990. So we
Cool.
got it. Yeah.
I just more was thinking of when CDIs existed.
Yeah. Which
They existed for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was like DivX.
It was 90 to 92.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was like DivX.
And the
Which
console
people
was
forget.
called the CDI 910.
Yeah, really leaned in that one.
Mini DVD.
Oh. They used them in the GameCube. So 2003.
2001.
Yeah. That counts, right? Because it's +2. Yeah.
Yep.
Or -2.
And it was GameCube.
Yeah. I am doing very good at this trivia, by the way. Except for FM Marty, the FM thing, which you weren't sure even existed.
Yeah. You got 4 out of 7.
Yeah, it's not bad. Is that
or
it?
4 out of 6 if we don't include the
yeah, I'll take
FM or
because these are like pretty fucking obscure.
They are obscure.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty good.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I was trying to find more,
it.
but I was like,
Yeah.
my brain hurts so much
No,
there's like,
I understand.
yeah, you saw how long I was sitting here before.
I know he was like,
And
I need some
I had
extra
already
time.
looked
And I was
up
like,
half
oh
of
my
them.
god. No, I actually feel good about that one. I mean, I would say I did well.
Yeah.
Because they were like so obscure. It's like, and like the window I had, it's like the one I was like 4 years old. I said like 89. It was 86. That's like, if I had a 4-year range, I would have been fine. But
I also
it was
found out
interesting.
like because you're always like
you never
I
said
told
Blu-ray though. That's what I was surprised about.
Yeah, but I feel like there's only
Yeah.
one answer for that.
It's
Like,
PS3.
yeah.
Yeah. But well, I mean, mini DVD, it was GameCube. That's why I was like, as soon as you said that, I was like, it was GameCube.
Well, that's why I threw CDI in front of it. Like maybe
Yeah.
there was another one, and if I did more research, I'm sure I could find some like weird.
You could have gone like
obscure thing
specific cartridges too, like really fucked with like
Yeah.
the different.
Apparently, there was like a Sega cartridge or card that was like the size of a credit card that you could get smaller games on.
Oh,
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff I found.
yeah. There was the Atari computer had some weird that you could have gone like the floppy disk route. They had some
Yeah.
weird shit. The Atari, because people think of like Atari Jaguar, Atari 2600. There's also the Atari computer, which was a console too. That was its own thing. So it's like there's a whole fucking thing. If you go like Atari is like a crazy scale of shit. But all right, so we'll go. That was fun though. I really liked that.
I almost did because you got that poster with the controllers. I was gonna do like how many buttons does it have, and then
And
I'm
I'll be
like, I also already asked that
oh yeah,
on a different trivia, which it's like you forget.
Oh yeah, I mean we're almost done this a
Yeah.
year now. May 27th will be a year. So
Yeah,
it's
because
fucking
sometimes
crazy.
you're like, oh, I can't believe that you forgot what I said, and I'm like, I forget what I say.
yeah, no, it's but that's like within the episode, not like 30 episodes ago.
Just letting you know how my brain works.
I gotcha. All right, so I'll do a quick one because we're going we went from going short to going a longer one again. Top 10 game genres of 2021. So as of 2021, top 10 game. This is from Strats Research. I literally thought it was legit because the name is Strats Research. Sounds good. They have a bunch of good, they seem
Fighting.
reputable. So let's go 1 to 10. I don't have my pen, so I'll just get high from this fucking permanent marker, I suppose. So just give me. Oh my god, I wrote so much.
Do you want 10 of them or do you want them in order?
I want. Oh, no, you can't just say that. I will give you. No, you got to give me numbers. I want the genre and the number.
You need to start like printing this out so that I can number them
Yeah.
without just like shot in the dark.
Now that I
like,
can print, I just got the printer.
There
So
we
now,
go.
now that opens a whole slew of opportunity. Yeah. All right. So I'll give you a list in alphabetical order
Okay.
of ones and then just write it. So action games would be a genre. Adventure games would be a genre. I'm not going to keep saying would be a genre. I think you got it. Battle Royale with cheese. Some people get fighting games. First person shooter. Which I don't really, that's the one thing I don't like about this. I would say FPS games are action games, but whatever.
Well, also all battle
Royale,
royales
right.
are first person
Yeah.
shooters.
Well, no, Fall Guys is not.
Sure.
And that's but I don't what letter was I on? So fighting games, first person shooter. I think I told you those two. Racing games, role playing games, RPG. RTS, real-time strategy, and then sports and simulation, and that should be 10, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Number those shits and let me know.
All right, so I am going to go Battle Royale 1.
Okay.
I
do need to write these down. Okay. You can just keep
First person shooting 2. Sports 3.
Okay.
Action 4. Racing 5. Adventure 6. Oh shit! Real time strategy probably should have been higher up. RTS 7.
Oh, this is
8.
strong permanent marker.
8 fighting.
Okay. 7, 8, 9 fighting.
9 RPG. 10 simulation.
Okay. All right. We'll just go from 10 back. 10 is first person shooter.
Okay.
So you got that wrong. 9 is simulation. You put RPG. Got that wrong. 8 is RTS, which you put fighting. Got that wrong. 7 is fighting. You put RTS. Basically, you would have flopped to set your 8, 7, 8. You would have got them right, but you didn't. 6 is racing. You got that wrong. You put adventure. 5 is role playing. You got that wrong. You put racing. 4 is battle royale. You got that wrong. You put action. 3 is adventure. You got that wrong. You put sports. I wrote sparks. 2, you put FPS. We already know. 2 is sports, and 1 is action. So all 100% wrong.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like that they split up.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of Venn diagram overlap in these.
Yeah, this is kind of like, yeah, I don't like.
Yeah.
But this is like,
because like action to me is like Last of Us.
Yeah, so then there is what they're doing does make sense if you actually go to like the genre breakdown. But like technically action, like battle royale, FPS are under the action umbrella. But then there's also an action adventure genre that's separate. And I'm like, okay, this is like.
I also forget that.
But I gave you the name, so at least you could rate them.
I also forget that Mario Kart is a racing game and Smash Brothers is a fighting game.
Yeah. For the record, under action, it specifically mentions like Super Mario World is like it would be considered an action.
Okay.
But to me, it is, but it's also I would call that a platformer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I love this, but I looked at a bunch and this was the most legitimate. Basically, it's action games that you say requires the player's reflexes, hand-eye coordination, and reaction time. That's how they were like listing those.
Oh, so a video game.
Yeah. I just the fact that Battle Royale was different and the first person shooter, it's like, dude, Call of Duty is like the biggest fucking game. So it's I don't know. I don't love it, but that's how they broke it down. So yell at them. Anyways, we got a long one. So thanks everybody for joining. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe to all the fucking socials. Just look at if you have a social on anything, just look for Glad You Game Pod on it and like and subscribe to it.
We'd really appreciate it.
We would love it. It'd be fantastic. We're trying to get more, trying to get some sponsorships.
Yeah.
You know how we do that? Fucking listen to our shit, download our shit, like our shit.
Or you know what? If you hate all the stuff that we do, but you got a friend that you think would like it, send it on over to them.
Yeah. And you can hate like our things too. Or just comment.
That's also
comment you hate it. I don't give a shit. Yeah. It's fine with me. Subscribe and tell me every week you hate this. I don't care. All right, everybody. Thanks. Hope you learned something. Hope you got a little joy in your day. We'll keep talking to you later. Keep gaming, and we'll talk next week. Bye.
Peace out.